What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Hilariously Casual Non-Triad podcast. Second try, because last episode we had some technical difficulties and stuff got
Some.
some difficulties and everything blew up and exploded. So we're just doing a second take of the 5th episode because that's why. And we're gonna
Exactly.
talk Prophecy League, our first impressions. It's basically day 2.5 of Prophecy League, I would say, for us here
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Europe.
I think we're still kind of day two, aren't we?
Yeah, it's kind of day 2. For me, it feels like day 3 because I've only played 2 hours on Friday and then I slept and then I played all day until I am playing all
Well,
day.
it's Friday afternoon to Saturday afternoon would be day one, 24 hours. We're still in day two. We haven't even started day three in any kind of setting.
In the setting where whenever I sleep, the next day starts. Yes,
Okay, sure.
that's how I count days. My sleep schedule.
I count days in mole feeding periods.
Oh, that's also not bad.
All right.
All right, let's get started.
So day two, prophecy.
Day 3 for Yoji. I'm from the future. I'm giving you the prophecies.
Future Yoji.
Yes. So yeah, what have you been up to in Prophecy League so far? You've been in Dried Lake, what I've seen from your stream.
Yeah, I got to that infamous point. I died. That was fun.
Oh yeah, they had a rip. What
I
happened?
did. I was tanky. I was like, yeah, my block build's blocking all the things.
Except
Normal.
this one.
Well, I was face tanking the laser beam, not hurting me. I was like, what if I leap? And instead of leaping over the boss, I leaped into the boss model, which
Was it
stacked me on top of the laser beam, and I got hit 4 times in a second, and I was like, whoops.
Corrupted Piety or which one?
Yeah, corrupted
Oh
piety.
yeah, it was like which boss has a laser beam? For the first thing, I was like Val. Okay, yeah, if it hits you twice, but then you leaped into it. And I was like, yeah, Corrupted Piety. I got hit by that twice as well. I didn't die, but that was quite the close call.
Yeah, 4 times kills you, turns out.
Yeah,
Four times.
four times, like 3 times the charm as always. Everything in life. Yeah, I actually had a pretty awesome, really close call. But I legitimately got outplayed by Merciless Dominus. He just caught me off guard with an awesome move. What he did is, I was standing there, blast training, I'm playing a bow character, at his face,
Okay.
and he was like, you know, I have this totem attack, right? What happens if I place the 3 totems right around your character in a way that you cannot move anymore? And then I shoot lightning at your face. And you just use your blink arrow as well, and your single target is aimed at me, so it's not really working. I panicked, was like, what? I panicked and just like logged out at very low HP, and I survived, but that was not deserved. He deserved that kill. He almost got it. That was really good.
Oh, that's great.
That was one of the best near deaths that I had, and I wouldn't have been mad even a little bit if I died there because that was
had
just a legit PK attempt.
Merciless, right? Was it?
Yeah, Merciless Dominus.
Okay, I was thinking I don't think normal or cruel would do enough damage unless you were like terrible resist.
Now, I was resist capped with 3k HP, but the lightning barrage, if you take it full to the face because you can't move while taking the dot from the cold totems, all 3 of them stacked on top of you, I think that could have killed me.
Seems I think it could have as well.
Yeah,
I think it could as well.
even with my Pathfinder insane class, still probably gonna kill me.
So what was you were also kind of dicking around with the prophecies and specifically trying to see how they are through the leveling process, right?
Yeah, just like taking all the prophecies I could, basically like yeah, just chasing after them, even going out of my way to actually completing them because I wanted to see what they did. I did, for example, create a fated craghead, which turned out to be a crag fall, and
Okay.
that thing gives you a chance to double stun duration, and that made me basically through all of normal stun everything in for like 2.5 seconds that I hit,
What was the level requirement on it?
like 30 something or so,
I
20
got
something,
the
super low level.
I got the prophecy for the limb split on Hammerfall. And I'm solo self-found, so I'm like, huh, wonder when I'm gonna get a limb split.
Yeah, I actually bought the Craghead because I was like, yeah, I got the prophecy, want to try it out. The Craghead is like 1 orc, that's worth trying, and it turned out actually to be really good. As I said, I was like basically stunning blue and white mobs till end of normal difficulty, like perma stunning them, all of them with split arrow chaining and stuff.
Is the
Everything was done.
Craghead gonna have any potential as a late game stun bow item, or is it more gimmick for the sake of gimmick at that point?
I don't think, yeah, it's more for the sake of gimmick because the bear stats on it, you're lacking a lot of bear stats for that. You could maybe do something with the Slayer if you like really want to do like a stun bow build. You could probably pull it off, but it's more gimmicky than actually like really legit strong.
So then, yeah, I was playing. I got the limb split one, and I couldn't continue that one. I found it actually annoying to transition from normal to cruel and then cruel to merciless because of the difficulty specific ones. It was like,
Yeah,
let's
a
knock
bit.
all these out.
Um, something I found annoying as well is that when you get a prophecy for a zone that you just completed or that has you backtrack. I would kind of I think for leveling I would like it more if it could only spawn prophecies that you for zones you've not been in for your quest state yet or that you have to go towards for your quest state. And I later found out that this is mostly a problem because I was under leveled. And I think it takes your level and sends you to zones around your level. But if you're leveling under leveled, because you want to level fast, right?
Mhm.
Then it kind of messes up and sends you back all the time, which got kind of annoying. But as soon as
I
I over leveled a bit, I basically had always had stuff for the next zones.
With the experience that prophecy gave me, I was never under leveled. I was just doing the prophecies, and I got the one that you spawn in the crossroads, which ambushes you at the house. I don't know if you
Well,
ran
yeah,
into that
I
one.
had that. I did that actually twice. I got that like twice in a row. That gives so much experience, but that's like 500 glue packs.
I know. I was just like earthquake level, or no, say at the time it was sweep, sweep level, sweep level. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I actually did that for backtracking as well. I like backtracked to it, and I went in there and was just like blast rained the whole thing. All my gems like ding 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 leveled up. I was like, nice, click 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 click.
Uh, the experience was pretty intense, at least in normal difficulty. There was definitely not as much later. I got the frog one though. That was my favorite so far.
I didn't get that, but I heard a lot about it. A lot of people seem to like it. My favorite ones so far are probably Brutus is supported by a ghost of Chevron. That one was spoiled, I think, before. And it
Okay,
is
yeah.
actually as intense as it is. I got that in Merciless as well. So you have Chevron spawning the lightning colts, and there's Stormbearers spawning all over the room, while Brutus is hasted, like with the ghost, has regenerating energy shield, and chases you down and tries to smack you. That's
Sounds
pretty.
like a bitch.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Was pretty fun. Definitely one of my
I
favorites.
I didn't start activating them yet in Merciless because I wasn't resist capped until recently, and I was kind of like, I'm solo self-found. I should wait for that.
Yeah, I was able to buy my resist cap for like a few chaos once I reached to merciless, so that's why I was like. But I was actually not resist cap until I got the Brutus one, and I was right before the prison. I was like, yeah, at least lightning resistance. I might as well buy some more items, I guess. And I just resist cap myself because of that prophecy, basically.
That would make sense. The other one, what was it? I haven't gotten any of the really interesting ones that other people. I just keep getting the ones that spawn a rare pack or kill a rare and give you something, and I'm just kind of like, huh, where's all the interesting ones? I got the frogs.
Yeah, I got some stuff that's waiting for me right now. I'm not started mapping yet. I got two tier one maps. One of them which I crafted with the prophecy. It was added some pack size craft to it. It's like region and stuff. They had like prophecy. If you transmute a map, you get pack size and shit. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I have one that is a map is waiting for me. That is full of beyond monsters. So I'm definitely looking forward to
Ooh,
that. But
that sounds fun.
that sounds fun.
I actually haven't had a map drop yet.
Yeah, I got two tier ones. I got a crypt and a grotto or something.
I'll have to work on that. Just no map drops like Piety, Dried Lake.
I actually had that on
Maybe.
my solo self-found SRS character. That character has never done a map yet because he has no maps. He just does not own maps.
You didn't even make it to maps on your solo self found before you went, nah.
No, it was mainly because I was farming a lot of Dried Lake and I had zero tier 1 maps just all the time. And I was like, I could do Piety or something, you get a map there, right? Or like Dominus, something like this.
Piety has a 50% chance
Yeah,
of drop a map.
50%. One of those. I was like, I could do that. And I was like, nah, just doing more Dried Lake. Like, I kept doing Dried Lake, and I was like, okay, I guess I. And then that kind of the league died down, and the 2 week ended as well because I didn't play it as much.
No, I didn't end up playing the 2 week at all. Mostly for me, it was because of the intensity of the other flashback leagues were much more difficult
Yes.
and like not necessarily had better balance, but they were harder.
Yes.
So this one was like, oh, this is a baby version of what we did before. Okay,
This is dead. It was way easier. Partly because of ascendancies, of course, but also partly because they didn't stack the crazy mods as much. Beyond wasn't stacked as hard.
leveling up
Beyond Nemesis, for example, they didn't, which can get out of control pretty fast. They didn't do that as much.
Yeah. Oh, apparently, what we should have done is killed Malachi. Cialis is remembering us or
Oh
reminding us that
yeah,
we could have killed Malachi and gotten a tier
damn
one
it.
map.
Yeah, that's true.
Silly us.
That's good. Didn't know that. You get like an easy tier 1 from, I think a free tier 1, I guess. I think
Yeah,
you get
that's
a
the
rare one from
quest
the
reward
quest.
from doing Merciless Malachi at tier 1.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you always do Merciless Malachi and then tier 1 maps.
Yeah, that should be the leveling progression. I don't know why other people aren't doing it. They are
Maybe.
clearly scrubs.
Probably because the leveling progression ends at Dried Lake, but
There's stuff beyond Dry Lake.
no, that's a myth. That's a myth. People always talk about it, but I've never seen that. I
If
mean, I have
they-
to kill 1,200 volts. How am I supposed to leave Dried Lake ever? I'm like at 8 or so.
someone has to make like a unique map, which is just a tier 16 Dry Lake.
Oh, that would be cool.
Just a tribute. I do like how they gave us the 12 or the 1.2 thousand vol kill grind achievement.
I like that as well. It's the same as like full clearing Dried Lake and Merciless. I like that one as well, because it's like, yeah, you actually never do that normally. You just farm that zone all the time, but you never full clear it. That was pretty cool. I think it's kind of like a hint towards the current farming meta, which I found pretty cool. I like that a lot.
It definitely is a meme achievement, which
Yep.
is fantastic.
Yep.
And the only other thing that it reminded me, I like actually having grind achievements. It's a company grinding gear games, and we grind. So I don't know. There was some backlash about that.
Some people
What
were
did you
a
think?
bit annoyed. I think it's all right. I think if you have, it's definitely one type of achievement we can have as a mix. Like that's for me. It shouldn't be all grind achievements, but it also shouldn't all be do tier 1 at tier 1 to 15 twin maps or something like this. It should be some hard end game stuff. Maybe like a very few currency dependent ones, like the divination cards ones. It's all right as well, because it kind of gives you an extra incentive to like maybe go for more trading or something like this. Go invest into a bit more into gaining.
Well, you
gaining
do
wealth.
only need 36 of the 40 for most of the rewards that people care
Yeah,
about.
that as well.
So as long as there's like one heavy currency one heavy endgame one, and it becomes understandable to me.
Yep. I think it should be kind of like this. I like that there's always stuff for new content. It makes sense to be like have an extra incentive to see the Pale Council, for example, and kind of like that. So I think this time they're probably better than ever. There may be a bit too many freebies. Like I made a list of.
There's a lot of freebies.
Yeah.
Isn't there like 32 basically freebies?
It's like I made a list of a spreadsheet of completes itself. This was the first column. That was most of the challenges. That's basically if I just play the game as I always do and don't look at at them, I would complete these by themselves. Then I have them that require actually going for it, but not difficult at all. It's basically if you want to do them, you can do them, but it takes
The
a little
dick
bit of.
around
Yeah, it's
ones.
basically the ones. It was like requires a little bit of effort, and then was like requires some serious effort. Those are the ones that like get the divination cards done, because you actually have to invest, kill 1,200 volts and 100 in series. That is actually effort, serious effort, and difficulty. So yeah, and there were like I don't know, a handful of the serious ones. Some of the dick around ones, and like most of them were, the large chunk was just freebies.
Chibody is like 1,200 emperors is not cool. What it did make me want, though, I remembered playing Fable, and you'd get that stupid, useless stat sheet where it'd be like chickens kicked and how many times you've killed this mob, total like gained
Yeah.
experience. I kind of want just a rap sheet in PoE now, where it'd just be like stats,
That was my exact thought as well.
total damage you have done. Like that's a pretty common one in many. Oh, ambulance time.
Yes.
You.
Hey, they actually
Total
let it through.
damage done over your character
Yeah.
and total damage taken on your character.
And also like lowest life you've ever been to. That would be cool.
That would be a neat one as well.
You can like cheat, of course, if you do like spec CI for just to be at
Righteous
one life,
Fire.
or go Righteous Fire or whatever like this, or like even reserve life. But I mean, it's only for you anyway. It's not like an achievement or something.
I guess
it's
you
just
could say
funny
you
dick
could
around
phrase
stuff.
it slightly different and say like biggest hit taken.
a biggest hit taken would be cool. Or that would be really nice, especially like if you had like a CI build. You can sometimes probably take a lot of hits.
That would also allow us to get some interesting tools for just player builds as well. And just scour through player data, see what the biggest hit they've taken are, look at the defense on their build, and we could kind of reverse engineer some numbers.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool as well. Yeah. But yeah, I love those random stat sheets that don't give you anything, but it's just like, huh, that's pretty neat. That's cool. Oh, I killed 506,000 zombie million dudes.
Amount of feet walked.
Blobs. Amount of feet walked, yeah. Amount of mana spent. I love those things. Just completely
Amount of
useless
times
stats.
you've cast an aura.
Yeah. Oh, that amount of time cast hatred. Blood rage. those ones. Amounts of frenzy charges gained.
So I'm
and
just thinking of a
lost.
discharge build. It just rolls over.
Yep. That would be cool.
We
All
need
right,
to
yeah.
statue now.
Yeah. Have you so I'm guessing since you're solo self-hunt, you've not had any of the fated uniques in your hands yet.
No, I've only gotten the one to try to get one, and I'm just kind of like, can't do it yet.
Did you have a look at them?
I took a look at the Reddit quickly, and I saw I think it was the limb splitter one,
Yeah, that was
which
pretty
is
cool.
really quite strong, but also not overtly interesting either. It's like, hey, look, another leveling two-handed axe.
Yeah, it's basically that. I have I'm currently using the Death's Opus, which is basically Death's Harp with an extra arrow and more damage for high level.
Yep.
And that thing is insane. That thing is completely crazy.
Did you see the Pale Council bow?
That thing is also pretty good, yeah.
Oh, what was it? A 360 fizz DPS plus 4 projectile bow?
Yeah, plus 4 projectiles. No crit and attack speed, I think.
No, yeah, no crit, no attack speed.
No multi. But it has to have
And
something.
it's arrows, not projectiles.
Yeah, it's arrows. It's arrows. But that works with mirror arrow clones because they're actually using your weapon. That's going to be so nice. Free
Well,
GMP for mirror arrow.
Even then, with a cast on crit, those extra hits.
Yep, that could be pretty nice. But then the bow's pretty slow, so it kind of evens up in that point, and it doesn't have a high crit chance. So you're not wind rippering and you're not quill raining, but you're getting the free projectiles. It's good if you're not using projectile spells because then you don't want the GMP anyways.
Yeah, it wouldn't be with projectile spells.
Yeah.
It would be like something like Glacial Cascade or the Area of Effect skills with range.
Apparently it has 1.5 attack, so that's not even that horrible. That's pretty good, actually. It's like for a bow, that's nice.
I haven't heard of anyone doing the Pale Council yet.
How do we get the weapons though?
No, we get them from, well, they could have been Datamined.
Could have been data, but didn't they look like screenshots? I have no idea. I'm talking out of my ass, but they kind of look like screenshots to me.
Fair enough.
So maybe, I mean, maybe some people did it. Just
I haven't had enough time to check where the information is.
Same. We are uninformed casual podcast after all.
Oh,
But they were not super high level as well. They were not like high level. They were like not high level,
66.
but they were like 66 and around that area.
there was a mace too.
There's a mace.
Yeah, apparently people have been clearing it. So doesn't
alright.
seem to be like it's a brick wall thing and something more like Rigwald.
Yeah, which is alright, I think. We got the brick wall with the new map labyrinth. Yeah, that's pretty good.
What was it? People are doing like 150 to 250 labs just to get access, and then
Yeah, Suicide Small, the guy who always does the daily labyrinth posts on Reddit. He said he did like almost 250 trials maps until he got all trials done.
which is a hefty number.
Yeah, how do you feel about that overall? Like this being an actual grind instead of a you just get to just do it and you have it basically. Basically, once you can complete it, you can. Now it's like even if your character could complete it, you can't complete it until you have the trials.
So one of the first things, once you've done the trials, you don't have to do them again. As I died on normal, I got to experience that already. I got into Act 3, and I was like, wait a second, I can go into the lab right now. So I have level 25, and I'm like, I'm going in the lab.
Oh, YOLO!
For reference, not a good idea. Didn't die again, completed the lab at 25, which means I was completely over leveled for the entire, which wasted all of my experience.
Yep.
So it was just complete waste, but
What zone level is it? 31?
33.
33. Oh god. 8 levels. Holy moly.
Yeah, it was. As they say, it's a good thing that the traps are percent damage rather than anything else. So that was fun. But my experience was fucked. I enjoyed not having to do the trials again.
Yeah, I imagine that. Whenever I did a trial, I was like, I reminded myself and also said to the stream, like, and that's the last time I do this in this league. And it's also like, yes, that feels good. Every single trial I did, I said that, and it felt good every time.
Someone had to remind me. I was in such a habit of doing it that I was just auto doing them when I was leveling, and someone's like, you don't have to do that anymore. I'm like, oh, right. This is the best.
Yeah, for me it was the opposite. I basically did the trials I basically never did the trials, and I always did them. Like I wasn't once I reached like Act 4 normal, I was like, okay, let's go back to all the trials because I never could be asked to do them while leveling, unless I like ran into them and it was not an annoying one.
Fair enough. I just like being soul self found the extra loot is like kind of reasonable.
That's true.
That being said, when you did the labyrinth, even though we've kind of tangented from your original question, because you've done normal and cruel lab, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the normal crew.
Did you do any of the side stuff? Because there was the mention of increased loot and making the side quests more rewarding.
The normal layout was so convoluted and weird. I got like double gold door here, double gold
Yeah.
door there. So I was like, I'm not doing any of this. And today's cruel labyrinth, by the way, if anyone wants to do it,
It's really easy.
it's like you don't like. I just went through it accidentally, like straight through the whole thing. It's like 0 doors, 0 side areas. If you just go top right in every zone.
Yeah. To the people watching on YouTube, hilariously late information. To the people live, great cruel lab
Yeah.
today.
If you're watching on YouTube and you didn't do cruel lab today, you missed out. It's super
Yeah.
easy mode,
Shame on you.
and the fight mechanics are easy as well.
Yesterday there was a secret passage to skip the gold doors that I found accidentally.
I was told about that by my viewers after I went through the golden door. That's pretty useful.
So did you run into the payload event? That was the new thing they added into it.
Nope. I heard about
Ah.
it. It's where you push stuff around, but
Yeah.
I didn't have that. Didn't happen yet.
I ran that.
Oh.
Do you get it explained how it worked?
You kind of have, there's like a totem thingy that you have to push through like a trap gauntlet.
Yeah, so it's very simple. Like you've played TF2?
No.
Okay. There is a glowing radius on the ground. While you are standing in the glowing radius, it moves forward. If you step out of it, it moves backwards.
It even moves backwards, so it doesn't stand still.
Exactly.
So you kind of have to remain keep the position, capture the thing, basically.
Exactly. And you know how the traps are pretty damn simple to dodge. Like very, very simple normally.
Yeah, but if you have to stay in that thing and they go through that, it's going to be pretty damn
Exactly.
tricky.
It weaves through traps.
All right, so you have
Now,
to
that would be terrible and boring and everybody would hate it.
Yes.
Okay. So they did one thing better. While you're doing it, mobs spawn at about 10 times the rate of an Elrion quest.
What?
Like a lot of mobs. Very similar in numbers to that quest that we were talking about for the prophecy in the Crossroads.
That's actually happening? So basically, probably to refill your flasks, I guess, so you don't get screwed over too hard?
I got an entire level doing it.
What? That seems good. That seems
doing
good.
the push quest thing, I got an entire level.
So you're telling me Trap Gauntlet to 100? It's a new meta in the map lab?
Maybe not with the new diminish they have.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, well, the Uber one.
In the Uber lab, you can easily get to just a 1-to-1 Trap Gauntlet from 70 to 80.
Maybe. It was really interesting. There was a lot of mobs and just constantly non-stop. And I was like, wow, earthquake, or a sweep. It was fun.
Yeah, that seems awesome. That seems awesome.
That was actually a little bit of fun. And I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Then again, would I go out of my way to find it? No. Is it in the direct path? No. Are you forced to do it? No. So there.
Maybe they were a bit scared to make it something that you will be forced to do it. And maybe there are some golden keys that you would have to push one of those through. Get a golden key. That could be a thing.
That would make sense.
I think that those would be the ones. Usually, it sounds like something that would normally be a thing for extra loot or silver keys, right? Did you ever encounter one of these actual puzzles in the lab? Where it's
Yes,
there with
it was
these pillars.
the exact same thing, just a bonus chest at the
Just a
end.
bonus chest. Exactly. I would have thought it would be something like this. Maybe in the end game lab it's different.
But when I did one of the silver keys, as I was specifically trying to see the increase in drop rates, I don't know. I don't normally do the silver keys, so it's hard for me to compare. There was one of those chests, there was a dark shrine, and there was an exile in
Oh,
the
and an exile as well. You can get a chest and a dark shrine. That was kind of common. I never had an exile as well, so that seems that
I
could
don't
be
know
the
if it
extra.
was RNG or something different, but that's experience. That's a loot set.
Yep. That's pretty
Potential
nice.
chaos recipe in the Merciless Lab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exiles in general, I always value as pretty highly because you usually have a pretty high chance to get some jewelry, which is always nice. That's why I always like exiles. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I had was actually had to do with exiles from the prophecies as well. I had some stuff that the next chest you open, like the next strongbox, has an extra exile. You have an exile that summons warbands to his aid, stuff like this, like all the exile stuff.
Hmm.
In general, like a lot of use of the old mechanics as well. Bosses
It's a
spawning
shame
everywhere.
that the exiles are just not threatening anymore, though. They used to be
Yeah.
something when they spawned, you were kind of afraid of them, or at least challenged. Now it's like, hey, loot pinata, whack.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they just die. I feel like they die a little bit too fast these days because the damage just went up so much. The damage is actually quite threatening, but they barely get to hit you ever. Like I had a ghosted
And they
Magnus
get
today.
stunned immediately.
Yeah, that as well. So I had a ghosted Magnus today. He was actually pretty scary while leveling because Magnus still hits hard, right?
Have you noticed a substantial increase in torment spawns?
Yes, it
Okay.
definitely feels like this. But I think I also had a lot of prophecies interacting with torments, not actually spawning torment ghosts, but stuff like if you kill a tormented ghost, you get an extra unique. I think I still have opened. So maybe they increased this torment rate, spawn rate a little bit just to make it
To
um
relate with the
to
prophecies.
make it easier to complete those prophecies that have to do with them. That could be a thing. Also, maybe to make it easier to complete the challenge of to having double ghosted mob that they have to kill, which is
Trug is saying
used
we
to
were
be.
mostly afraid of exiles because of the lag they caused when they spawned.
That is actually true. That was usually Exile. If I did an Exile box that also had something like DD or Explodes on it or Ice Nova, I usually wouldn't open it in maps because I would get a like 1 to 1.5 second freeze, which I don't get anymore at all.
No, however, I did run a prophecy where it spawned a warbands after I killed an exile.
Yeah, that had as well.
That almost killed me.
That had me lag for quite a bit as well, but it
Was
but it was
oh
way better than. Did you ever do the Dark Shrine that spawns a warband?
that just crashes your computer and
Yes.
then FedExes you the problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Just 5 minutes, like, all right, guys, I'm going for a break.
And it wasn't half as bad for me this time. So I think there are definitely performance improvements, but there are also some issues, right? I don't know. You and a lot of other people told me that they had some issues. For me, it's been mostly fine, except for my whenever I enter a new zone or like town, my frame rate goes to shit for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I've had that, and I'm assuming that's just polish needed with their new preloading.
I think so as well.
Because town's the worst. When I go into town, it is pretty ugly.
Yep, but it's only like for a while. After it's loaded everything, basically,
Yeah,
it
about three,
stays
five
good.
seconds.
Yeah, but yeah, for me it's a bit for me it's a bit better. It's maybe like 8 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
But then it's like once it's done, you realize it immediately because frame rate is up, no stuttering, everything's good, and then you can run around. And even people loading into zones, I partied a little bit while leveling. Don't cause any stutters anymore. Once their assets are loaded, they can zone in and out of the zone. For example, Malachi boss fights is pretty nice if you don't lag every time someone zones in and out. Well, I really enjoyed that being not a thing anymore. So that's definitely good.
That's definitely a plus. What I did also like, there's an it wasn't mentioned because they talked about the sound stuff. Then I've immediately like turned off all the new sound stuff and play without volume. So I'm like, good, improved sound. The lighting, did you know?
I actually don't have the exact opposite. I usually play with sound, and I played for the first 2 or 3 hours on Friday. I played without sound because the sound bugged out right at the beginning, and I didn't notice it.
Yep.
And then in the end, I was like, oh wait, and then I had to like switch out some stuff, and then now it's actually not crashing today. It didn't crash for me at all.
Did you notice the glare improvements for the Duresso quest? Like when you're going to Duresso?
No, I actually didn't.
The statues, I was actually very interested because when I was going there, they have some impressive lighting improvements.
Oh, cool.
I was just
No,
kind of like, huh.
didn't notice that. I noticed the sound sounding overall way more crisp. Most sound effects, especially the bow stuff, sounds really crisp compared to
And they
before.
also have different environmental sounds. When you're in a cave, there's difference when you're going up to the prison and you're in a zone with a wall on the two sides. You actually
Yep.
have a reverberation.
Yeah, there's like in general, there's like a lot of awesome sound stuff going on. I think once they like get rid of all the like little bugs and kinks and stuff in the system, I think that will definitely enable them to make this game just feel a little bit more modern and not as dated.
Which is quite nice. I
Yes.
think they do need to change some of their original sound assets.
Yep.
When I was doing that, I'm thinking like magma orb must be the biggest
Pop,
piece of
pop,
hell
pop,
right now.
pop, pop. Yeah.
Imagine that with the echo though.
Well, then you have to do like GMP, LMP, chain, magma.
And then like mace weapons still have that bonk sound.
Yeah, the mace weapons have still have the bonk sound, and there's still some skills that have a slashing sound, although they're like more of like a thrusting or like a stabbing weapon or a bob weapon. Like if some skills you use with a mace and they still make slash. And you're like, what?
Yeah, you're using, what is it? Reeve with a rapier and it's going shh, 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 shh,
Yeah,
shh. Like, okay.
exactly. Some things should be a little bit different, but I feel like just from what they did so far, it feels like those are a lot of things they have been wanting to do for a while, just couldn't because it's already in.
And I
They
think
probably have a lot more options now.
prophecy seems very, very good in terms of a new player to the game.
Oh yes.
It does really encourage you to do a specific thing. It gives you the information of where those things are. It can even teach mechanics. For example, the chaos recipe giving you +1, that's telling you that there's a chaos recipe.
Yep. Yeah, I
Making
like
you
that as well.
render, the use a transmute. Hey, right away.
Quality your weapon, something that beginners often don't do, and then you're like, hey, I can quality this, and then it goes to 20, and like, hey, this does way more damage now. Instead of if you use 1, it's like that doesn't do anything. But 20,
However, they need to mute her.
I have dialogue. Dialogue is the only sound option I have turned off.
Okay, she's it is just spam because you get
Yeah.
like multiple prophecies at the time and the audios will play after each other
Oh, she
or you
reads out the text that's that?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I should
When
try
you
that
get
for
it,
2 seconds and turn it off again.
when you get it and when you complete it.
Oh,
Same dialogue.
good thing dialogue is the only thing I've turned off, mainly because Daresso is always super loud. He's like always like, nah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh god, be quiet. That's when I turn it off every time.
The other funny one is did you get the prophecy to read a lore text?
No, I actually didn't get that, but I heard about it. I was like, hey, that's pretty funny.
Well, the funny part about that one is the aforementioned when you complete a prophecy,
It
she
reads
reads the text again
over the
on
lore.
top of the lore.
Rest in peace, lore. Well, what does it tell us? And the GGGs themselves don't care about the lore.
I'm trying. I'm doing some videos about the lore.
Yeah, that's true.
Slowly.
But overall, apparently nobody ever like came across that while testing and said, "Hey, that doesn't seem right." Nope.
Uh, and it's not the greatest voice acting.
I like her accent from the trailer, but overall the voice acting, even in the trailer, seemed a bit. I don't know. It didn't seem very. I don't know how you say that.
It did make sense for the trailer.
Immersive.
It
Yeah, for the
does
trailer,
not
yes.
make sense when you pick up four prophecies and they're back to back to back to back to back, and you're like, oh dear God.
Yeah. It's maybe a bit too much. But as I didn't experience it myself, I just can't imagine if she reads that out with the trailer voice like every time. Like, no, please.
Yep, every time.
Good.
The full flavor text.
I recommend disabling the voices. That helps apparently.
So the question that we avoided, that you asked me, which was the lab
Yes.
RNG gating. I think there's going to be a huge difference between this in terms of solo self-found and in terms of non-solo self-found, which is going to give us the interesting difference. In terms of non-solo self-found, I think this is a much, I'm saying I think that too often, this is going to be a much bigger factor in taking a bit of power away from the first week to the first week and a half. Once there's a saturation of the items, people will be paying for it constantly. You'll re-roll characters who've already completed the trials. You have
Yep.
extra coins. It's going to become less and less as the league goes on.
Yes.
And as a solo self-found player, it's going to be pulling teeth the entire time.
Especially the. I mean, once you if you want an helmet enchantment from that lab, yes, then definitely. But if you just want the ascendancy, it's not. I mean, once you get to the map labyrinth, once you actually get there, you have 6 of these items 100% to get into the lab. So you can basically make 5 other characters who already have completed the trials and can do the lab whenever you want. But if you want to farm those helmet enchants, yes, that's going to be horrible. But I think for trading players, I think this is pretty cool because you can go to Global A20, which is the sharing of quests and masters channel. If somebody doesn't know, and you could go there, and people will be there being like, I have this trial here right here who wants to join, and then you can like trade trials with people. So it encourages interaction in that part, which I like, and people will going to trade away the labyrinth things and stuff to make some quick currency maybe early on.
It's going to be good for currency generation and alternate ways to generate currency. Like when Zeri just came in, there was, are you doing MFing? Are you doing higher end maps? Or are you doing it Zeri farming? All of
Yeah.
those were viable options.
Even for the like lower end players, there was sack priest farming as well, who would let then
Right.
go into the Azuri farmers for currency.
Then there was a lot, you could make a lot of currency when there was just the merciless Izero farming.
Hmm? I did that in Perandus with my Earthquaker.
There was some Helm enchants that sold for quite a bit. That being said, the new Helm enchants are going to have a pretty penny.
Yes, because they're a pain to get, and if you get a good one, like if you go in there and you get like the I don't know, something that's
Temp chains.
popular, you get something with temp chains or some curse one, you get a flame blast one, a good one. It's going to be super popular. Even earthquake or good cyclone one, maybe blade vortex air radius, something like this. You
How
gotta go
much would how much would you pay for an eye level 84 base with your best Helm enchant?
probably more than I have. It's like it's really crazy. I mean, I found a Calm's heart today just before I went off.
What?
I'm pretty rich right now. Like basically rich to come. Yeah, I just like randomly
Good.
dropped it. I just like dried leg, blub blub blub, and then glorious plate, and I was like so glorious.
Oh, I killed Calm
Uh-huh.
and he dropped a 372 Fizz DPS two-hand axe in Cruel.
Yeah, that I saw. I heard you mention something about you not being able to go one-handed right now because you're too OP with the two-handed weapon you have.
Yeah. Go Cruel Act 4, kill Cam, get a 372 Fizz DPS two-hand axe, and I'm like, I have to respec to level with this axe.
Yeah, you can basically use this until like end of Dried Lake and early maps, and then
Exactly.
at some point, some time when after you killed Merciless Lab and you get all your block points and stuff, then you can be like, time for a shield, I guess.
Bingo. It'll get me through all of the kind of dumb farming, unfun stuff.
You basically found the cheating two-handed axe.
I see those helmet chants, the good ones going for a minimum of like 5, 6 exalts.
Yeah, the popular ones like Blade. Yeah, I would say that as well, like 5, 6
Po-
exalts, maybe even more.
Possibly more if the I guess it's really going to depend if people are selling their extra keys or if people are going to start ignoring them because the trials I've heard are quite tedious to do.
Yeah, I
And that
can
means
I
if
can
they're
see myself
tedious,
ignoring them completely, to be honest.
exactly, because you can generate the currency that you would need just doing maps. And in that circumstance, you're like, well, I'll just do more maps if I need it, whatever. I'll pay the 20 chaos, I'll pay the 10 chaos to buy it. I only need to do it once.
And it will not risk my character to super crazy traps as well, which in our hardcore is a very big point.
And that's valid. When you go to solo self-found, what? I basically have to do it every single time.
I mean, yeah, you can try to get some of the good prophecies, stack up some of the reuse helmet enchants, reuse the enchantment thing before you go in, for example. You can cycle prophecies pretty easily. I feel like right now.
Do you think the silver coin drop rate is ridiculously high?
Once you start sealing away some of them for like 7 to 10 coins or something like this, 7, 8, 9, 10 coins, they actually deplete quite easily. I had that up to this point until I got some I might actually want to sell or store for later. Like, hey, if you quality this map, it's 20 quality with 1 chisel. I can use that on unique maps. That's pretty nice. So I kind of don't want to, like, just because I'm chiseling a tier 9 map or something, I don't want that to be used up now. So I'm kind
Captain,
of stashing stuff away.
Captain Capslock is saying the Merciless Lab enchants are already selling for 5 to 8 exalts, and I was trying to remember which one sold for that much. I thought the more expensive ones were just like 1 to 2.
Yeah, last league, that was at the end of the league when I looked. There was like 2 to 3x for the real good ones for the popular bits like Spark
Like
and
Spark.
yeah, the Spark one.
But the
The
Spark one I think was
Blade Vortex Radius was also pretty expensive because that's a popular skill.
in the Earthquake one.
Yep. But yeah, I can see them. I mean, if they are already right now like 5x in this league, or if they are early in the league, that expensive, I could see them to be for going more. I would say they can easily go for twice as much as the Merc Lab because Merc Lab is super easy to farm.
I wouldn't see them going much above like 15 exalts though. I think that would be
Yeah, at the point where you can decide between the Helmet Chant and Skyforth, I think a lot of builds will probably like go towards Skyforth if you're ES crit based.
I
For
don't know,
example.
you have that new stun flask that also removes what was it?
Everything.
Stuns, curses, freeze was it?
Stun, freeze, curse, and shock. The 3 things that you want to
No,
remove.
shock wasn't on it.
Shock wasn't on? Okay.
No. Yeah, that flask.
But it's curses. Like curses. I was like, I only need one more flask to remove something, and I use all unique flasks.
Uh,
That was
that's
not shock. But that flask is crazy.
so good. And you're a Pathfinder. You're gonna buy it, aren't you?
Probably not, because I'm probably getting the ascendancy that all my
What?
flasks make me immune to status ailments anyways, because I'm not going the poison route anymore because I don't feel I need it. I took that for leveling, but it felt like if I'm not actually scaling the poison, even with the good fizz
Fair
damage,
enough.
it's not that good. So I'm taking my last 2 points of the endgame lab will be Vessel of Ink that removes itself. Oh yes, and that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, if you CI, that's probably what you take, and if you're scaling poison at any form, that's also what you're going to take as a Pathfinder. That flask is good.
That I have nothing else to say about that flask. That flask is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It was. It's like so we have the council. There's 3 council uniques that we've seen.
Uh-huh. But there are 4 council members, right?
There's 4 council members.
So I would be thinking there's a 4th council unique, because that would kind of make sense that every one of them has one theme towards them.
That would make sense, but applying logic can make you look dumb in Path of Exile from time to time.
That's true, but I mean, what do we have now? We have like a physical mace that can also be used by chaos spellcasters. We have a bow that can be used by everyone who wants a lot of arrows, and we have a
Helm
helmet.
that is
Really weird.
Converts a really weird. Like the helm is not in this. Like there might be a use for it.
Yeah,
It might be fantastic in a specific case once
it's-
we discover that.
yep,
But the other ones are just like, oh, that's obvious.
yeah. There's like this one mace. Okay, you can do physical attacks with poison with it, or you can do just poison or essence drain chaos degen with it.
I would assume something caster since we have a bow and a weapon. And that
Yep.
weapon is kind of insane if you were an assassin poison build.
Yes, I mean assassin poison builds are already kind of insane because 100% more poison damage. While
Probably so much overkill, there's no point, but I
yeah,
really want to see.
that's also what I think. Maybe if you're doing binos for the prolive, duration, because 40% duration is quite a lot.
You could Earthquake, Beano's offhand, crit assassin.
Yeah, oh yeah, with hit with that weapon even that would be pretty cool. I think that could be a thing. Not really think it's going to be one, but some people are going to maybe make that.
It'll
And
happen at some point in
It'll
time.
happen. It will be
better
fun.
than
It will be fun.
will it be better than just the normal things? No.
No.
But that maze is more of a fun item than a hey, this will be a meta item.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. That might be a 4th one, but the mask what it has was something like mind over matter for lightning, 30% mind over matter for lightning, and some shock stuff like you have shock chance, you get a chance to get shocked.
To shock, 20% chance
Get shocked.
to be shocked, 29% mana. It's energy shield evasion base, 30% chance to or 30% of lightning damage taken as life, and it specifically says life, so it's like mind over matter, and it won't go into the energy shield unless you have Eldritch Battery, and then you gain mana whenever you shock an enemy, I believe.
Yeah, 3% mana when you shock an enemy, and it has like mediocre evasion, even more mediocre. Yes,
I thought its energy shield was okay.
like 130 or so.
Oh,
It's like 400 something evasion.
and it doesn't have life on it.
Yes. Kind of a bit of a tricky one. I mean, yeah, Trickster can deal with that. If you want to make a build with this, you can make a Trickster or Cultist if you're ES based, and you can basically compensate for 2 slots of not having too much ES without any problems.
See, Etsy's linking the. Oh, the last council item was just linked in chat. Or the last one if there's 4.
Let me have a look.
Ah.
The grip of the council.
Yeah, Arcanist gloves. 30 strength, 38 life, 36 cold resist.
Minions!
10% reduced movement speed. Minions have 40% to cold resist. Minions gain 20% of physical damage as extra cold damage.
Kind of taking the most valuable stat of minions away, which is movement speed. But thematically, it's pretty cool.
Really need that's a lot of damage, though.
It's a lot. 20% added cold is pretty nice. Won't argue with that.
They said there was 9 Parandus specific uniques.
Yeah, but
I'm
there's.
gonna assume the council ones are 4 of them.
If they even are counted in that. I think the faded ones are not counted either.
No, because there's 13 faded uniques.
Exactly.
So then, if the councils you don't think are counted?
It could be they are not counted. Could be they are counted. I don't know. There's like there are a few. No, did you see the Magic Find amulet, for example?
Yes, I remember that being teased.
Yeah, that there's four. That there's alone four supporter uniques that I covered in a video, like the bow, the anguish claw.
Those aren't league specific.
Although they're not league specific, right? Because they're supporters. What's with
What I think it's going to be the
could be
4
9.
council and then 5
5
that are
others.
spawned through prophecies.
That could be the case.
That would make the most sense.
That could be the case.
Oh, mirror arrow. Oh,
Mirror arrow clones OP. Oh yeah, because they can't move. Then you can use them with both. We can use them with the bow for 4 projectiles or 4 arrows, and then you can use the gloves for 20% damage.
ooh,
Apparently, the Pale Council really does like
mirror arrows.
mirror arrows.
Ooh, Hax knows what's up.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any other minions that you wouldn't want to move?
No. Straight up no. Totems are not minions, sadly. Well, that would be crazy. Now, Spectres really need to move. They don't need to move as badly if they're ranged, or if you're like losing like a ranged physical Spectre or something. You could do with that.
Evangelists?
Yeah, Evangelists, for example. But they kind of need to still move because they still have to get in range, and they
Well,
backtrack
you're never
going to
be specters only, anyways, and you're not going to give up the versatility of your zombies for those.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, SRS is really movement speed is basically everything for them because they need to get to their target. Animate weapons is the same. Zombies are mainly a meat wall for most
Summon
builds.
skeletons could now be even worse than before.
Yeah. Although there's this 95 skeleton build or what someone made, that looked pretty cool.
Well, he respect into it on a character, and it had a lot of skeletons, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think it was mainly about like brute forcing the skeletons to hit something by having them everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Your entire screen is skeletons.
I really like the build though. Like the idea is pretty cool. Like I always like when someone pushes one mechanic just to the maximum and just goes super crazy on it.
I actually tried leveling as summon skeletons. No, it is so terrible.
Oh, I tried to make an actual like skeleton using summoner with what's it called? With the staff, Femur of Saints. But
did you give up too immediately when you're like, oh my god, this is terrible?
I gave up on them immediately when I first tried them for leveling. I took them out later with some movement minion speed gem and all that kind of stuff, and had haste aura running, and it was still terrible. And then I gave up.
You look at SRS, you look at animate weapon, and you're like, okay, SRS is better, but animate weapon has its niche, and that can justify the difference. And you're like, okay. And then you're like, summon skeletons, get out.
I mean, the skeletons themselves actually do quite a lot of damage once they hit something, but they are so slow.
They're
Animate
never
weapons
gonna hit anything.
Yeah, exactly. Animate weapons they're actually pretty fast, and they're just like clunkier to generate, but they also last longer. I think they have
helps on animate weapon because they get some like 40% movement speed on quality.
Yeah, exactly. They have pretty solid movement speed in general. I mean, SRS get that as well, so that's that. But yeah, they're all right. I think animate weapons actually are in an all right spot right now. I would say they do ridiculous damage once they get to their target. They're kind of like a little bit like mines. They're like the clunkier version, but they also get something for it, which is a lot of damage, or like traps maybe. Maybe they're not as bad as mines by any means. When it comes to clunkiness.
Mines are great for Atzeri because Atzeri stands in one room.
Yep. I mean, they do have their niche. That's like more than they had for quite a while. They do have the niche of being the best boss killing.
Summon skeletons needs their niche back.
They need their niche back of. We have not really found out yet.
Have you been finding prophecy a little bit too docile?
What is docile?
Non-aggressive.
Words. Get out of here.
Non-aggressive.
I think that's what they're aiming for, though. I think they're aiming for a league that they can incorporate into the main game without going like being in your face all the time.
I hope they incorporate it to the main game. If they don't, I'm going to be upset.
I really don't see a reason. They could just like get the spawn rate of silver coins to be maybe half of what it is now, a quarter of what it is now, but you can still get them every now and then.
Too much? Lower the drop rate. The silver coin, like, if this was just for this league, no point of the silver coins. Talk to her, get prophecy, move on.
Yep.
The silver coin is a great mechanic to balance it. Fantastic.
Exactly that. So yeah, I think that would be really cool if they did that, because I think they are really cool, really interesting. They could even up the cost of the prophecy, maybe like sealing them away could be more expensive, so you don't flood the market with prophecy. They have so many balancing tools, it would be such a waste. Like they don't have unless this like they screw something up really hard, they basically have absolutely no excuse to not put it into the into the main game because they have all the balancing levers and like values
It
to
it is
balance it.
mechanically, even if the prophecies itself had poor drop rates or weren't doing everything they should, the
Hmm.
baseline mechanics is the foundations are safe.
So yeah,
Someone didn't like code name says prophecy sucks. Sorry, Ketero Eternal Love. I've been enjoying prophecy more than I enjoyed Ketero. Ketero was just glorified loot.
yeah,
I was, I,
he was alright. I think found the monsters to be pretty tedious after a while because they just like rush you and spam you and run back and forth and they're like slightly
yeah,
annoying.
visually painful.
Yeah, and also this time you can, if you don't want, like if you read a thing and you like this sounds super tedious, you just spend your 5 coins, throw that thing away, or give it to a friend who maybe wants to run it, and then you're
Hmm.
done.
Well, I think the one thing I was concerned with, though we talked about the incorporation and it's in a good position to be incorporated. Many of the leagues we've had previously, they're never incorporated exactly as they were. One of
Yep,
the things that I feel that maybe the Prophecy League needed was just something you can't avoid. Not necessarily all the time.
yep,
I think Talisman had a great balance where, though there was issues with Talisman, there was certain Talisman mobs you were continuously fighting against, similar to
yep.
Bloodlines, but then other ones you had to go out of your way to activate. It was a good dual mechanic.
Yeah,
This
you would never face the bosses if you didn't want to, right? You would only
exactly.
face the normal. Yeah, that
Whereas
was
on
alright.
this one, it almost feels like there should be either a baseline chance that a prophecy gets just spawned into a zone for whatever reason, or maybe that when you buy a prophecy, it could be a corrupted prophecy and then you couldn't remove it.
Yeah, the corrupted prophecy that you can't remove thing. I think we had that idea before, right? Kind of
I,
seems
I think
familiar.
we brought it up in passing.
Yeah, and I think that that could be a thing that you maybe if you seek a prophecy, that will be like something like, okay, you fucked up. This prophecy is bad, and it will also be like something challenging, and that you can't remove it.
It's like the Tremor one. Have you run into that one yet?
That's the nobody heard about the
The
Devourer one,
Diva.
right?
I got the Diva one. If the Diva one's cool because it's like, oh shit, Divas, I don't want to fight them. They're scary. When
But
you can just be like,
experience.
remove coins. No.
Yeah.
That kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Yeah, one that is actually pretty scary, by the way, is the lying in ambush or what it's called. I don't know if you had that. One of the next mobs you kill randomly spawns like a huge blue pack around you, around where it killed.
I did run into that
I
one.
almost died to that one.
However, I was playing Earthquake, so I just got Prophecy was completed and I was
Bonk.
confused what happened.
Yeah, I was playing Blast Rain, like a random white ribbon runs into my face, and I Blast Rain it, and suddenly huge pack almost whacking me, it's like all soldiers, and they all slam me, and they all have like powerful crits and accurate, and I'm like, oh shit.
That sounds much more exciting than my experience with it. Mine was, hey, I used Earthquake. I completed a prophecy. In fact, a lot of the things happen. It's like a exile spawns when you open a lockbox. Earthquake. Hey, I completed a prophecy.
I'm glad you finally get to experience the slightly abusive mechanic that is Earthquake.
I don't understand it.
I played Earthquake with in Piranhas, and yes, it is. It is. People always ask me, is Earthquake really that good? I'm like, no, it's probably even better.
It doesn't make sense. I was playing Sweep. Sweep is fine. It's no
Yes.
caster. And the worst part is, it's still honestly just terrible compared to Firestorm.
What I did on my staff crit character, I played every single skill you can play with a staff crit that is an AoE skill. I played on that build. As I went slowly from like I started with what's it called with sweep, I think. I went thunder. I tried what's the name? Glacial? No, ice crash. That one. I always think it starts with glacial. It's not glacial hammer. Ice crash, and then worked my way in. At the end, I tried earthquake, and earthquake was so much better. Which was not a surprise, really, but it's just crazy how much better it is. Because the radius is so great at the damage is so good, and the double hit is actually an upside, I found. Because oftentimes you will stun stuff with the first hit, and then you can already move on, and the second hit will do extra damage.
The other thing that confused me was it seemed like the downside was supposed to be, all right, you have to wait for the hit, and that's going to give you overall lower DPS. But because your ability to just continuously hit through it, it also has a ridiculously low mana cost for such a skill.
Yes.
It's 100% Fizz. Yeah, just
Just really good. But I mean,
The downside to it is you can't use it with daggers. That's pretty much it.
hey, no, whirling blades is a downside, okay?
Yeah.
That's a downside. I would say, yeah. I mean, we've always asked for melee to be brought up a bit, so that's definitely brought melee up a bit on one skill. Maybe they will.
On one.
Maybe they will. Maybe if they bring some of more of the other skills up to Earthquake, I mean, there's definitely a reason. Would definitely be a reason to use them because at least your damage is absurdly high, even if you're not clearing off screen.
Yeah. I don't like Earthquake because of how powerful it is, though melee's not as powerful as casters. If Earthquake is fine and you really want that to be the state of the melee, there's no reason for all the other melee to just suck in comparison.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So yeah, I think it would be nice if maybe they could tune down the radius a slight bit, but leave the damage. The damage is absurdly high, but I think that high damage is something I could be the identity of melee in my opinion. Just like have really high damage that is higher than ranged, but you suffer in AoE. Well, range it will always have the superior AoE anyway, so might as well be like okay, but it doesn't get as much damage.
That would only make sense if you can't one-shot everything, though, because having more damage when everything has enough damage is not an advantage. It's the situation that claws are in. You have more leech. Oh.
Yeah, all right. But maybe for single target, then it could be a thing that you're like, okay, melee is actually useful for killing bosses or whatever. Killing like tanky blue packs faster can be a thing at least.
Well, that's what Fortify was for, remember?
Yeah, fortify. Yeah, that's
Remember?
kind of the
Remember?
duelist
What
thing.
that was for?
I don't know.
No.
I'm still salty about Fortify, to be honest. I think I wasn't really happy to have that because I was like, yeah, that's what Diablo 3 does. Melee characters take less damage. That's awesome. That's really what we need. That's really awesome and cool. And now it's under the champion. Like this was one patch later, man. Please give us like, at least. It was 2 patches later, right? 2.2.
Thurendal is like, explain the 8% nerf to sweep now.
Yeah, what? Also Val Ground Slam nerf.
No, sweep was nerfed in 2.1
Uh-huh.
alongside Val Ground Slam and Cyclone.
Yes, and in Cyclone the initial hit got nerfed. And then they introduced Earthquake in 2.2.
Yeah.
And then they were like, yeah, sorry, but the sweep had too much AoE and while Ground Slam had way too much damage. And now you got that without the cooldown and the bigger AoE with more damage. Okay, I guess. I don't even know, man. That seems so weird in retrospect. Oh, Shield Charge, by the way. Someone mentioned Shield Charge. Did you see that?
I haven't played with it. I know people have been talking about Mathel's been having fun with it. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I played Lacerate. That's a bucket of ass.
I mean, that also already looked like it wouldn't be that great.
Well, so remember how it was a leveling skill?
Yes.
All right, so I'm using sweep.
How small is the AoE if you're starting out with it?
Oh, it's awful.
Pew 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 pew. So, it's less than sweep, damn it.
It is fucking force lasers. I was even making the pew pew sound when I was clearing.
Pew pew.
So I'm using sweep sword. I'm like, all right, let's test lacerate. I was struggling to kill a pack of monkeys. It was so bad. I had to like spend 2 minutes chasing a single pack of monkeys because its attack animation is horrible. The range is horrible. The width of the projectiles are so thin that if the mob's moving, you can miss with both.
Oh.
Oh, it was the worst. And it was supposed to be for leveling.
How's it for a single target, though? If you can actually get the overlap on like a stationary dude, does that work?
It does seem that the situation that I could see it, if I was fighting a difficult boss and my Reeve stacks, my Val Reeve fell, that on a high area of effect character, Lacerate might be a better option.
All right. So just for that single target niche.
Yeah, it's about it.
Okay. That's kind of what it looked like for me as well. It could have some single target potential, and it could have some leveling potential maybe. The thing is that the AoE scales with gem levels, so it's like it only gets the somewhat proper AoE late game anyway, so it's kind of weird.
Which makes it terrible for leveling, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe should have just given it the max AoE that it has at early levels, and then it might actually be good for levels.
I do understand progressing the area of effect with levels with many skills, but that would only make sense if you did that with all area of effect skills in the game. When
I
you
don't know.
do that, you just make it so that the skills that have the correct amount of area of effect initially are just going to outclass it while leveling.
I kind of like the idea of there being AoE being something that can scale with levels for some skills. I kind of like the idea a little bit. Like Melee Splash, for example, has that, and it doesn't even feel that bad because you start out with a small AoE, but pack size is also small and normal, and then once you progress, it actually gets bigger. So it actually doesn't feel horrible at all. It's basically, you just notice at some point, hey, the AoE doesn't suck anymore. That's what that was my
It
experience with
doesn't
it.
suck to mediocre. Woot.
Yeah, yeah. It scales from hey, it doesn't suck to mediocre to hey, I'm almost clearing some mobs at the same time.
Uh, that melee splash was buffed so much and it still wasn't enough.
I
It's a
think.
huge buff.
What do you think? Like, can you even get it to a point where it's good? Because I think for many people, or even maybe most people, at least a very loud fraction of people, the main problem with all those skills is that then they don't like the name locking mechanic. That's what whenever I hear that, so I say like, "Hey, Frostblade is actually not bad." The people are like, "Yeah, but it's name locking, so I will never play it."
Well, Frostblades is probably the best of the name locking
Yes,
skill.
it is because huge range helps out a lot with name locking.
It really does not feel like name locking because of the huge range.
Yep. That's for me. It feels more like a range skill basically. You can stand like quite a bit away from the mob, just aim at its general direction, and you will hit it, and then it will chain. Stuff will happen.
Problem is with the name locking problem is how do you fix name locking with essentially making everything earthquake or ice crash?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
That's
If you
kind of like the
make it
problem.
so that melee splash dealt damage regardless of hitting the mob,
Uh-huh.
congratulations on earthquake. Here's a cookie.
Yeah, that's kind of like the thing, but at least it would allow you to like use different skills, and they could just change up the implicit stats on the skills. For example, like I don't know, Glacial Hammer has a chance to shatter or something like this, right? It has like a chance to shatter stuff and freeze stuff. They could just like give it some values that are more interesting, and then you could play around with those and just scale it on an AoE and make this the difference in the different skills. And it's not like the AoE is not, it's all the same for all melee slash skills, anyways.
Well, this might seem like a heretical thought, but wasn't that what supports were supposed to do? Shouldn't you have, let's call it, what if your first skill was, I don't know, the first hit of Earthquake without the second? And then you could support it with Fizz to Cold. Congratulations, you now have Ice Crash. You could support it with Aftershock, turns it into Earthquake. You could support it with Poison. You now have Viper Strike. You could support it with uh, Detonate Corpse on melee kill. You have Infernal Blow. You could support it with, wasn't that what supports were supposed to be? And it seems their desired, you can't do anything with melee except give it a radius and give it melee damage.
Yeah,
And then all you can do from there is give it more range.
yeah, the support. Yeah, what you're saying would be to make the supports more specific and make the because right now supports are pretty generic, right? You have like AoE support, conk effect support.
Exactly. Yeah,
It
Do
just
the
takes the
opposite
proper.
that we have.
Yeah,
Take what you're defining as the melee skill, wrap that as a melee support, and then make the melee skills maybe like Cyclone, the first stage of Earthquake, Frostblades. That would actually make sense. Imagine Frostblades with no elemental conversion that you could then do different things with.
that would be interesting. Yeah. Also, yeah, if you could do the conversion thing, could be something that yeah, it's just like they make it like added fire basically, and that you can just have a support that you can decide to add some fire damage to you, or even could just convert a portion instead of being like this skill always converts to cold. You're now elemental, even if you want to be physical, get wrecked.
Because when I'm playing melee, though there's different melee skills, I'm always thinking you have Frostblades, which feels different than Flicker,
Mhm.
which feels different than Cyclone, which feels different than Earthquake. Everything else just fits into one of those categories of an inferior level.
From the actual melee skills, yeah, that's basically they're the AOE around you skills, which Earthquake just wins. Then there are the basically Flicker is just different because it's kind of like a name locking automatically hopping skill. That's a very unique skill, I would say. That's a pretty cool one. Yeah, then you have the Static Strike. Maybe Reef is kind of like a little bit different. It's more like it's a cone AoE instead of a circular AoE. It's not the huge like change of the world or anything, changing the
CX's
world,
saying
but
that
yeah.
the balance with that kind of freedom would be hard, and it would
Yes.
be, but the balance of where they've made melee exist in Path of Exile is there is one and only one.
Hmm.
That's that's your trade. Having freedom will always be hard to balance.
Yeah, of
Always.
course.
That's
And look at the
why.
passive tree. That's hard to balance as well. And the ascendancy classes now we have as well. It's also pretty
But at this
balanced.
point, what they seem to be doing is just giving us one hilariously overbuffed melee skill so that melee can be viable-ish.
And melee can feel. You feel powerful as a melee character. You just don't have to look at what the bow character next to you is doing. Then you're fine.
As long as you're playing offline, you feel good.
I mean, it does feel good. Like with Earthquake, you're blazing through content. You don't like you one shot most things you meet. You do a shit ton of damage. You just don't like. If you look at the experience per hour, you will feel bad compared to a Wonder who just clears 10 times as fast. But it still doesn't feel like in itself. Like if you just start the game and
It is
you
greatly
pick up
rewarding, I
Earthquake,
can agree.
yeah, it feels rewarding. It feels like the visuals also.
Like
Of
some
course,
people
is also
really
pretty
don't
good.
like Contagion Essence Drain and would even call it slow, which
Yes.
sometimes confuses me. But
Feels more clunky to use, I would say, because you have to cast like once, twice, and normally those builds don't have much cast speed as well, which kind of makes it.
and I do understand that, and it doesn't feel as rewarding as something like Earthquake, where we're like, fuck yeah, Earthquake.
Boom, splatter, explosion. Yes,
The
that's
only
definitely
other way
true.
to solve melee is basically just to cause fizz spells that all come out of your weapons, which is basically what Sunder is.
Sunder, yeah, you could do something like this as well. Yeah, Sunder also is a bit different. Sunder I would put in the Reef category of like it's like a directional AoE. Maybe Cleave as well. Yeah, those are kind of like the skills that you kind of have. But yeah, that's not really that much. Crossblades is actually pretty unique. Like it's very unique. The bow skills, like I'm playing bows right now. I kind of felt the same. The bow skills are also kind of like all the same, basically.
Yeah,
There's like two versions. There's
and
the
the
Rain of
passive
Arrows
tree,
type and the multiple arrows type. And there's
and the
Caustic
passive
Arrow.
tree that you have.
Yeah, yeah. People have complained when I said, hey, I want to play a bow skill. People are like, oh, bows are always the same. I was like, yeah, I can't argue with that. But I'm making a Pathfinder. That's like for me, the interesting part is keeping my flasks up. And also like the fun of seeing my flask. Like, I'm like Diamond Flask, Silver Flask, Basalt Flask, shoot once, full. Next pack. And that's how it goes right now, which is pretty fine.
I'm trying to think. The same solution for melee would be the same solution for bows. You have GMP and you have split arrow. That's kind of redundant.
Split Arrow is basically a normal attack, it's like your standard attack with built-in super GMP, because like GMP LMP without the multiplier loss. It's still super fun to use.
Oh,
I
it is.
I don't have anything against that, especially now with the +2 arrows I have on
GG
the
does spells
unique.
very well, not necessarily in terms of their intrinsic balance, but spells feel unique.
It's just
Flame Blast does not feel like Glacial Cascade,
yes.
which does not feel like Essence Drain Contagion.
Even Vortex does not feel at all like Ice Nova.
Have you played Vortex?
I digged around with it like yesterday for half an hour in standard or permanent hardcore, just because I wanted to see
Does
how
it
it
do a
feels like.
ridiculous amount of damage?
My character was not spec'd for it, but it was a low life character, so it did alright damage, but it was very hard to judge. It was like a vendor leveled, just smacked it on a character, just wanted to see the look and feel of it. And it feels pretty good. The AoE gets pretty big as well, like if you have AoE and some AoE notes, which the character had. It's my Shock Nova character, I tossed that on.
When we saw the initial numbers, it looks ridiculous, so I'll have to watch and see how Ziggy's doing with it, because I think he's doing Vortex.
Yeah, I watched like 15 minutes of Ziggy playing stuff, but he was in an endgame lab, so he didn't kill monsters at the time when I was watching him, so rip that. I didn't see how much it did, but it looked really, really interesting. It looked really cool. Does that automatically chill, by the way?
Yes, it is 100% chill when mobs are standing on it, which means you get more access to hypothermia, and it's a more interesting cast when damage taken
Then Arctic Breath.
than Arctic Breath, because you only
That's what I
need one.
that's what I thought, but I didn't really know. I was like, hey, I might put down a cast when damage taken, maybe if it's actually always chilling. Because when I was using it, it was always chilling, but it was on a like my super crit cap, low life build, so that would probably chill and free stuff anyways, right? I wasn't 100% sure.
Apparently, Ziggy's been one-shotting stuff.
I
It
believe
had
that.
a ridiculous number attached to it.
He also did the EE thing where he EEs them with cold and with fire and conversion.
With the pyre ring,
Yeah,
correct.
with the power ring, and then does the degen doesn't E, of course, and so it's like free pen on top of more pen.
A 50% pen. Well, you don't get any pen on. You can't use the pen gem.
No, but you can. Yeah, you can't use the pen gem because it doesn't pen, but it's better than the pen gem. So.
Exactly. It's better than the pen gem, and you're not using a gem. So
Yes.
it's net gain.
It's one skill point for 50% pen. That's what it is, and that's insane.
It is the most powerful DPS node if you can use it efficiently.
That's it. But I think that's actually a really cool node because it's like I think EE is a really nice node because when you use it, it's really strong if you can use it. But for most builds, it's really tricky to get use of it. And so many people try to use it in a completely wrong way.
Yes, had so many people, and I'm sure when you were doing builds as well. Did you get Elemental Lacerate, Elemental Equilibrium build?
With the Dietus Axes, I had one. The dual Dietus Axe Lacerate.
Yeah.
It could kind of work a little bit. I mean, at least it uses EE in the right way because it actually works like this.
Yeah, but then you can't get any elemental scaling on gear.
Yes,
any
and no
elemental
auras.
Scaling on auras. Any elemental scaling from buff effects. So you have to use the Deities TPS for the entirety of your build.
But at least the build I had was blood magic, so he took away advantage of not having any auras. And I was pretty happy about that. I was like, okay, at least he took 30% free life. That's pretty good.
Well, fuck yeah. Good.
But yeah, it's kind of like that. But if you see builds like, I don't know, just like an alley attack build and just like EE on, it's like, nah, that's not how it works. You're just reducing your damage by 25%.
Yeah, the elemental hit or wild strike. Oh, wild strike. Remember how excited people were about that?
The skill looks so cool as well. I love how it looks. You use it and you like whirl your blades around and stuff and everything shoots in directions and stuff and it does no damage. But it looks so cool. I love that skill.
It does. It's like, get a really, really high frenzy charge on hit, no DPS flicker build, and be like, yeah, look, I can keep flickering. It does nothing.
But it looks so fancy. It's super fun to use. It's super fun to use. I wish they would like revisit it. I hope they revisit it at some point where it's like more fun. I played with the guildmate through
There's a helmet
Horrendous.
chant that's like plus 12 chains on your elemental hit.
Yep. Yeah, well, elemental plus what?
I think it is. 1 second.
Really?
1 second.
I'm gonna revisit that.
Enchants.
That shouldn't be too expensive. If anyone even tries to sell that, doesn't just roll over it.
Hey, well, if someone like tries to haggle you, you can just rightfully tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
I want to buy it. 2 alterations. No, give it to me.
That's okay. 2 Alk shots. That's my maximum budget for this. The thing is, like, if someone has one like this, the thing is, if he has the only one, he could be like, yeah, who else are you gonna buy it from? And that's a good argument. That's a good point. Because I don't think
All right. Oh, right. No, it's only 4/6. Sorry.
4 to 6 chains.
No. So the 66 enchant merciless is 4 additional chains.
Okay.
And the 75 one is 6 additional chains.
6 additional chains is a lot of chains, though.
But it's only for 1/3 of the hits.
Oh, it's 30% chance to chain. What?
No. Okay, so the problem with elemental hit. All right. So first of all, you know how Molten Strike interacts. The second hit is it's not a secondary effect, but it doesn't scale with the quote melee tag.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Wild Strike's effects do not have the melee tag.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Wild Strike. I thought you meant Ellie hit. But yeah, Wild Strike. Yeah, Wild Strike. So it only changes the arc component. It doesn't change the AoE component and the projectile component. Yeah, I think that is the main problem already. That thing would need like a triple enchant that it gives you like 2 chains, projectile speed, and AoE for Wild Strike. That would be cool. Then it might actually be usable.
Might as well just make the chant Wild Strike uses Earthquake on hit.
The thing is, what people are actually scared of when they released Earthquake, which I found pretty funny, is that the people are actually scared. The skill might be really good because it reads like it's a powerful skill, unless the second thing is one of those Wild Strike effects. It doesn't scale with anything you do. At that point, it would be pretty shit. And it would have been hilarious. So I rolled an Earthquake character before I knew if that was the case, because I didn't take any spoilers from the alpha stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna roll it. I don't care what it is, and if it's shit, then it's shit. But it turned out to be completely overpowered. Well, that's pretty good.
And then you're like, oh, I was trying this thing and now everybody's doing it. Oh,
Yeah,
boo-hoo.
as
I
soon
didn't
as I
get to
realized
make
I was playing
moves.
the same build Ethan was playing, I know it was meta.
I made a mistake. I played the meta. Damn it. Tried so hard.
I mean,
Should have went with Lacerate. You would have been safe. Nobody's playing Lacerate.
yeah, that's right now. I mean, now I'm playing Pathfinder. That's also not very meta, I feel. Although I traded with another Pathfinder today. I was like, oh yeah, he's a Pathfinder. He also was using bows. But other than that,
How often do you play bows?
I used to love, like, bows are probably my second most played character type after summoners.
Well, in RPGs, I love bows. You saw my Dark Souls PvP
Uh
shit, right?
huh. But that bow is ridiculous though.
But that's how you play bows. Path of Exile bows doesn't play the same way. Ugh.
Yeah, Path of Exile bows plays very different because it's first of all like third person. It feels more a little bit like a top-down shooter, which is a genre I personally enjoy a lot. So that maybe I like it because of that. Because you just aim in the general direction of mobs and they turn around and place and shoot stuff. Also like the kiteiness of it. I think I really enjoy playing bows.
I think I would enjoy playing bows more if they didn't have the same problem as melee do, where I never feel my build is my own. And I
Because
like
it's
playing
not.
I play an ARPG with customization to make choices. When I'm playing a bow build, I'm like, hey, look, I'm playing the same thing everyone else is. And it's not bad, but if I wanted to play the same skill the exact same way, I'd play D3.
Yeah, that's definitely a good argument. That's probably also the reason why I've not revisited bows basically since. I mean, the range attack totem build doesn't count. That was a different bow build. Um,
Correct.
Before that, I played my Wind Ripper character. I actually played afterwards. The Wind Ripper character was I found a Wind Ripper. I wanted to use it. That was basically that. And
Reasonable.
I
Yeah,
never used the
Wind
Wind
Ripper.
Ripper before. I wanted to use it. It was pretty cool.
Was it the legacy or version now or
No, it's the no, it's the it was
current?
right after the Gwent Legacy, I think.
Okay.
So I used that the last time, but that was in 2.0 or yeah, Tempest. I think it was in Tempest. So yeah, it's been a while, so I thought I might revisit both. And I think yeah, the interesting component I now changed is Pathfinder basically because my flask management normally is terrible, and my original plan was actually pretty hilarious. My original plan was, hey, I'm gonna play Pathfinder, so I actually have to pay attention to flask management. But what the Pathfinder does is it supplies me with so many flask charges, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like what the fuck? It's basically doing the opposite now. I'm basically just mashing all my flask buttons in the hopes to keep them all up, and it always works. Oh baby.
Put the popsicle stick over your flask buttons 1 through 5 and just hit the popsicle stick. Doesn't count as a
I
move.
actually bought a new mouse where you can switch out the buttons, and you can actually make it so that 4 buttons are 1 button, and you can press them and press 4 buttons at the same time. That is
That
that is not a macro; it's a mechanical
I
button
think
thing.
that is actually one of the ones that breaks the terms and services.
It's I'm pressing 4 buttons with one
Yep.
big stick.
I
I'm not using it right now, but actually thought about it. But I could also put a popsicle stick over my mouse buttons because I'm using mouse buttons for a flask all the time, like all my life.
I wonder if because I know what the mouse is. I know it, and it's technically not a macro. It's just basically that your mouse is automatically doing that, but I think it does fall. It's
Those-
not allowed. I really don't think it is.
I would argue with any time that it is because just on how it's worded because it's not a program that's pressing the 4 buttons.
Yes,
It's
it
actually
is.
me.
Your mouse is a program has a program that's doing the sequences.
No, it's not. That's the thing. It is actually I'm actually physically replacing 4 buttons with a bigger button because you can exchange the buttons on the mouse.
Yes, but a computer cannot press one button at a time. So what happens is your mouse, when you press that, runs a program that hits the buttons in order. And that program
No, that's not what's happening.
it's not?
You're actually pressing 4 separate buttons with 1 button. It's just like you have a big button that you put
Oh,
on
I
for
see.
the 4 buttons.
it's
Normally there are
okay, okay.
1 button slots, and
I
you
see what it
pull out
is.
4 buttons and put in 1 button. Then you press it, and it presses all 4 buttons at the same time. That's mechanical. That's not a macro at all.
I thought it was one of the mouses where you have the button and you program the button.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Do you program the button?
But that's basically like putting a popsicle stick on your keyboard. It's basically
It is.
exactly
If
that.
it is that, you should be fine.
I don't know. I mean,
Or fat fingering, yeah.
right now it's just like yeah, it's basically fat fingering, improved fat fingering. But right now I'm like actually pressing it at the same like by myself.
Yeah. I think I was doing that Want to learn to flask manage? I'll play Pathfinder because then I need to use it so that I'm good with my flasks. Whoops. I guess I'll just hit all those buttons
But yeah.
all the time.
But
Are you
yeah.
gonna try to go down to one life flask then?
I'll try that later, yeah. Currently, I don't really have another flask I want to use. I'm using silver, basalt, double life flask, and a crit flask, a diamond flask. Maybe once I get a taste of fate, I might drop the basalt and then I can change stuff around.
And are you gonna run like an amethyst? Or sorry, the Series Promise?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get serious problems once it gets a bit cheaper, once Ethereum is more farmed. I might get that. I'm thinking about like end game setup be diamond, quicksilver, then either Victor or Series, one of the two, depending on which I want. Probably gonna go Victors and actually try to get some Chaos Dress on gear and do Taste of Fate. And
I would assume Victors. How much are Victors selling for lastly?
like the good ones like 30ish Chaos, the bad ones like 20s.
I'm surprised they're so cheap.
Yeah, they don't have instant leech built in anymore. Because if I get Victors, I will have to respec in the file pack as
Even
well.
when they're instant, remember they were. I remember seeing Victors for just an Exalt before they were more broadly used on some streams, and I was just like, how are they selling for an Exalt?
I bought my now Legacy Lightning Pen Victors for 1 Exalt. 2 Exalt was for the Fist the Lightning one because that was used by all the Bladefall builds back in the day. But yeah, my now Legacy Victors is... That thing is pretty ridiculous. It also has like less charges and stuff. Consumes less charges.
Doesn't matter if you're a Pathfinder.
Yeah, although I also have a nice flask belt now. I just managed to get for 2 chaos, I get a reduced flask charges used, some res 90 life belt. I'm super happy with that thing.
Reduced flask charges on a Pathfinder is just silly.
Yes, it is. And I have my diamond flask also has the implicit for that.
I completed the Den quest in Merciless. You know that quest that nobody does?
Yeah, the great white dude back.
I identified the rustic. 108 armor, 85 life, 28 fire resist, like 28 lightning resist, and then 10% flask duration. And I'm like, win, self-fan.
Yeah, that's that's nice.
Pretty happy.
Yeah, definitely.
It was fantastic.
I didn't really find anything all that great. I got a Stormcloud bro dealed pretty early, and I bro dealed away another thing.
Who found the cows?
I found the counts. I mean, like early in the league while leveling.
When I think
the
of
counts
items,
right now, yes, the counts right now is
when
good.
I think of items that are great, and cows is in the list, I think you're lying.
Yeah, I mean, but up until that point, I basically got nothing too great, and then I got a counts and a midnight fragment and like some awesome stuff all the day.
Other than my good loot, I didn't get great loot. Okay.
It's basically until level 65, I got nothing, and then suddenly RNG activated, and like counts, this, that, more awesome items. That was pretty good.
Do you think Prophecy's shaping up to be a good league?
I think it's so far one of the more interesting leagues.
It might be the league I've enjoyed most, just conceptually.
Yeah, so I'm always a bit careful. Like early in the league, it's always easy, and you always I always have trouble like seeing the future problems of like it getting tedious, something's annoying me or something, like the voice of an NPC apparently. But overall, I think it's really good. It's the most fun first leveling experience in the league that I've had. That's definitely that, because there was just more to explore than ever.
And one of the things we complained about earlier, not today, but another podcast, was the reincorporation of things like Tempest, Warbands, blah, blah, blah. And the Prophecy does that.
Yep, and it does they're quite a lot. Like I got different lead mechanics basically all the damn time. Also encountering Dodri in Act 2 was pretty cool. Getting a Chevron Ghost, which we have like that's a ghost that type that we didn't even have. It kind of incorporates Torment, but in a new way that we have not seen before. Like the Chevron Ghost supporting Brutus. That's pretty cool. I think that's nice.
It's gonna be fun. Do you want to kind of close things up? We've been at this for an hour and a half. We both want some more leveling to do.
Yeah, more Dried Lake.
Exactly.
So yeah, podcast stop for more Dried Lake, and I think you have a lore video to do as well. So
yeah, I've got Dried Lake to farm, and then the lore video later tonight. So there's that. I guess I could host you at the end of the podcast and then bring my stream up in 5 minutes, or what do you want to do?
That works for me. We can also just keep the people here, I guess. And whoever wants, just come over to my stream. I'm gonna start streaming now, I guess.
Both of those work.
All right. Yeah, that was episode 5, second try. I think that one went way better, considering we're still live. It's still working. My PC
didn't explode. The last one there was internet issues, and it's Yoji's computer shredded it. We're sorry. We
Sorry,
tried.
there could have probably been a super try-hard way to fix that thing with like downloading VODs and stuff, but this is not a try-hard podcast at all, so we're just redoing it.
Exactly.
casual
Fuck
way.
it. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it is basically what I'm trying to say here. Signing out.